Right. So we're live.
All right, we are live.
We're live. All right. Hello, hello, hello. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dr. Tashina Reeder. I am the director of the Community Health Training Alliance, and with me we have
Kyle Shabasta, Public Programs Manager here at the Community Health Training Alliance.
and we're so excited to have you for our third episode of our CHTA Chat. And so today we have a special programming, a special chat for you all who's watching. As you know, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And, in light of everything that's happening, right, Cal, we've been living in the pandemic since March, on top of all the civil unrest. And now we're feeling the pressures of the election process. And oftentimes all of that can overshadow other important topics and information and education around our health. And so we thought that it was really important to still talk about breast cancer, right? And the importance of getting your mammograms, because cancer doesn't go away because we're living in a time of uncertainty. It's still taking place and people are still falling sick with cancer. So we want to have a conversation with Traci Smith. She is the founder of Tracis Bio. We're so excited to have her as she's going to present some awesome information to you and talk a lot about who she is and her organization and share some resources and all that jazz. And so, Kyle, shall we get into it? Traci?
Yeah.
Yes, thank you for having me. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
We're excited too. So, Traci, who are you? Tell us a little bit about yourself and why Breast Cancer Awareness Month is important to you.
So at 43, I was just a woman living her life, taking care of my businesses. And I thought that it was proper that this was going to be my year to stay healthy. And so I went to the doctors and I found out when I went to the doctors that I had breast cancer. And so I am just a woman who was on a mission to make sure that those that are fighting breast cancer do not fight alone. So that's pretty much my mission.
That's a very important message. You do not have to fight alone. Why is that important?
Well, when I was going through breast cancer, I did witness a lot of ladies who would go to chemo by themselves, that would go to radiation by themselves. And I had an excellent support group, but I don't think that this disease takes such a big toll on you that if you don't have a support group or if you don't have someone that is checking on you, you mentally can drown in all this. I always say that your mental space plays an important part on how you heal, on how you get through breast cancer. So I just think that it's important that we rally behind individuals that are going through breast cancer. And my motto is always, it takes a village to actually have someone go through breast cancer. And so I have become, or like to be, one that is going through breast cancer, their village. And my team and my board or anyone that supports Tracis Bio, we actually become your team, your family, your village while you're going through breast cancer.
Traci, that's a good message because I think all too often people suffer in silence, right, Kyle?
Mm-hmm.
Silence when you are faced with life-altering diagnosis such as breast cancer. I mean, I can only imagine
Right.
that sets into any woman, any female that receives such news. And so I agree with you. Taking care of your mental space is really conducive to how you get through your treatment. And so mental health is having a healthy, sounds like emotional and mental health. Mental health is key to getting through something very emotionally
Mm-hmm.
taxing individuals. And so, how you have
And just to give you an example, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, go on.
Want me to go on?
Chatting, we're just all chatting.
Yeah, just an example. I'm sorry. I spoke to someone yesterday, and this is her third time going through breast cancer. And so just when you think you sort of kind of, I mean, for lack of better words, you know what's coming up, you know what to expect. 3 times going through breast cancer has to really affect you mentally. And so we just spoke about, she doesn't have anyone in her corner who understands exactly what she's going through, even though she's going through it for the 3rd time. And so we just chatted, we talked, we compared, and I just wanted her to that we are here, the organization is here, and myself, if she needs to talk at 1 o'clock in the morning, if she's to talk at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, we are here because it takes a lot. It is definitely a lot that you go through, and going through for the third time, I can only imagine. So we are rallying behind her to make sure that she has a sisterhood behind her.
Yeah.
That's great. What I really appreciate about Traci's Bio, and Bio stands for beautiful inside and out, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
What I appreciate about Traci's Bio is that it, encourages a sense of camaraderie and a sense of community among women who have gone through a breast cancer diagnosis and treatment.
Right.
What are the benefits you've seen of the community coming together and folks really being there for one another versus, people trying to go through it themselves? This is, it can be something that can be incredibly deeply personal and,
Right.
Inward facing. What would you say to someone who is maybe looking for that sense of community, but can't maybe take that next step and say, I'm going to join this, this group or this circle of ladies? Like, people may be hesitant. What do you have to say to someone in that situation?
And unfortunately, I think the word join stuck out in my head. And so, unfortunately, we have been given this diagnosis. And so, and I understand exactly what that person is going through. And so oftentimes you don't want to be a burden to your family and your friends. So you keep things inside. And I can give you an example. My daughter watched very close. My daughter took care of me when I was going through breast cancer. And so I'm a single mom. And so I had to, for lack of better words, not tell her everything. I had to hide my emotions only because I knew her well-being was at stake as well. And so we at Tracis Bio, our Pink Sisters, make sure that you can pretty much say anything to me. We have dialogue that some people can't even say to their husbands, or family members. And so we have dialogue that is very open, transparent. There's nothing that we cannot talk about, because some things, as I'm a 7-year survivor. As I was going through breast cancer, I was learning little by little. So my doctor didn't give it to me all the way. You know what I mean? They were their job is to make sure that they are making sure that they are treating the disease. But who's in my head mentally? Who is in my head spiritually? And so we have to make sure that we get into that person's head so they know that they are going to be okay. And so, yeah, Traci Bio tried to provide that, again, that family for them, that village for them, in reference to, as you said, they unfortunately joined the team, unfortunately.
Yeah. And you also provide a platform and voice to a lot of folks as well. There's a series of books as well.
Yes. And so one thing that and I still find that, as you said, people do not want to talk about it. Unfortunately, people don't want to talk about that. And as Dr. Tashina said, they're suffering in silence. And so we have 4 books out, compilation books. And it really just, the ladies are telling their stories. Most of the stories obviously are very devastating. Most of them are very traumatic. Believe it or not, some are actually funny, how you put a spin on it. But I want people to understand that it comes in different forms. Everybody's story is different. And so these books are to encourage ladies to say, if you read the books, that sounds like my story. Or that sound like my family, or that sound like, or the doctor that I went through. And so it's just a compilation book as a reference, and hopefully an encouragement to tell these ladies that, you have a whole village behind you. You have a whole village that's willing to support you behind you. So as you mentioned, Kyle, yes, we have 4 books. We have, the first one was the Pink Sister Chronicle. That's the very first book. The second one was Bald to Bold, because if you see ladies who are rocking their bald heads, it's pretty bold. The third one was It Takes a Village, because it does take a village to help someone go through breast cancer. And then the fourth one was Perfectly Imperfect, because although I'm different, I still think that I'm perfect.
Mhm. I think this is awesome. And Tracy, just for the audience sake, just to add some clarification, I know we're talking a lot about Traci Bio, and I think it sounds like this organization was birthed out of your own pain and experience, right? So can you talk a
Yeah.
little bit about, like, how that happened? How did you come to decide, you know what, I want to start an organization? When did it start? What services do you offer? And all of that great stuff that you sound like you're providing to women.
So it actually started sort of kind of, I thought that I looked horrible when I went through breast cancer, like most females do. Although I didn't, people were telling me that I looked beautiful, I didn't feel good. And so I wanted those that were going through breast cancer to feel better. As you know, we lose everything that we think makes us beautiful, our hair, even in our physicalness, our breasts. I wasn't feeling, I wasn't in a good space where I felt beautiful. And so I felt like if I wasn't feeling beautiful, then there are other ladies who needed help in making themselves feel beautiful. And so we started out as doing beautification days where we supplied wigs, we supplied makeup. So the ladies just can feel beautiful, while they're going through the process or while they're sitting, cancer is so evasive. So I didn't want anybody to ask me, is she sick? Is anything wrong with her? So I went the extra mile to make sure that I straightened my wig up when I left the house and made sure that I was okay. And so it was birthed out of that.
Mhm.
And then there was a need, and the need was almost so far fetched for me that I had to catch up. I have a mother, or I have a girlfriend who who wanted to feel beautiful. And so that turned into support group, that turned into me being a life coach, and then that turned into books. And so I like to say that the mission was given to me. I didn't look for it, but fortunately God saw me fit to actually carry on this mission. And so I'm doing my best to make sure that um, I'm doing a good job, because I was given this mission.
Okay, wow. Sounds like an awesome organization. And so, can you identify some of the resources that you do offer? You know, how can a person become a part of Tracy Bio and all that stuff?
Yeah. Yes. And so luckily we work with a lot of doctors, University of Pennsylvania, Lincoln. Those are the two main hospitals that I really work with. And so if you are in a situation, and I'm gonna give you an example, there was one of the ladies who felt like that her hospital that she was actually being treated wasn't moving fast enough. So I was allowed to call somebody, and through me calling another doctor, she was switched to that doctor, and she felt comfortable and has been treated, and she's a cancer survivor. So it's all about really networking. You think that when you actually hear the words "I have cancer," that you have to take that first um, 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 what's what I'm looking for. You have to take that first diagnose and make sure. I'm trying to say it differently, but I know when the doctor told me, I got a second opinion. And
Mhm.
so it's important that if you don't feel comfortable with treatment, that you get a second opinion. And so we have a slew of doctors that we actually work with in reference to making sure that that person is comfortable. Secondly, we also, I'm a life coach. And so I can talk. And in the beginning, I didn't like talking. And I really don't like talking unless it's breast cancer. And so I can just make sure that we can have a conversation, and an open, honest conversation in reference to what you're going through. Thirdly, we also provide services in reference to making sure that, as I said before, making sure that you feel comfortable while you're going through breast cancer. And so we have a wonderful source of stylists, a wonderful source of people that make wigs, in order to make sure that you don't look like what you're going through. And then again, you have a wonderful support group behind you. Pink Sisters will visit you at chemo, radiation, surgeries, whatever it takes. We are there to hold your hand through the whole entire process and thereafter, because it's also life after breast cancer.
Wow, that's amazing. That actually is mind blowing because you don't hear of many organizations that will actually go with you to chemo, go with you to surgeries, go with you to, your appointments. I know that means a lot for many women
Right.
going through that. And I think so, you said something that really stuck out to me that in my mind, all I can hear was self-advocacy. And so I great that you shared that even though you got your first diagnosis, you advocated for yourself for a second opinion.
I did.
Yeah, I think it's important though. I think second opinions are important, especially if you're not comfortable with your first diagnosis. I think
definitely. I can remember being in the office and I didn't hear anything the doctor said. I didn't hear a word, nothing comprehended. I can't even tell you what the conversation was like. And so I had to go back a couple of days later to that same doctor and say, okay, can you just give it to me again? And after the doctor gave it to me again, I still wasn't satisfied. And that's when I went to a different doctor. And so much happened. My head was literally spinning because when you hear those words, Miss Smith, you have breast cancer, you are in a state of, for lack of a better word, shock. I was in a state of shock. And so I didn't comprehend anything. The next thing I know, I was told, can you come to the
Traci, you're breaking up.
tomorrow and start the process? It happens to Sheena. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
You were coming in and out, like you had froze and you couldn't hear you speaking. The last I heard was,
okay.
You received the call. You asked the doctor to break it down for you.
So when I received the call, I was like any lady, you are in shock. You can't believe that you was told those words. And so it's important for you to make sure that you understand every single thing that they say. And if you're not happy with what they say, it's always important that you get a second opinion. Always. So you feel comfortable because you only have one life. And God gave you this life. You got to make sure you take care of your body. It's important.
Mm-hmm. And I think that message is great because, as we know, early detection is best, right? And so all too often as women, we're not consistent with doing our own self breast examination. I'm sorry, I know that we talk about lady parts here, but some of us are not consistent with, checking our breasts as we should, or some of us may not even know what we're feeling for and can ignore the little lumps because our breasts, we have tissue. So sometimes it may feel lumpy and it may be nothing because that's just the texture of our or the menstruation where it might feel more lumpy because we're approaching our menses versus not. And so getting their mammogram. So what would you say to that about mammograms?
Well, let me just take it from my experience. And again, this all derived from my lack thereof. And so, as you know, the age is 40 to get a mammogram. And so even though my mother had breast cancer, I still didn't get my mammogram at 40. As a matter of fact, that 43 is when I went to the doctors and didn't go because I felt a lump under my arm. I didn't go because I felt like something strange. I went because I wanted supposed to be my year of getting myself together. And so the importance of getting a mammogram, because I did not get that mammogram early enough, breast cancer was very evasive in my body. And so what would normally have been, I don't know, could have been 0 or 1. I was actually stage 3 and it was very invasive. 6 months of radiation, 6 months of chemo, and 6 surgeries. And it was very invasive. And I can only imagine if I did my self-exam, did my mammogram at 40, what would have happened? And so I don't have that luxury. So I tell people, and I advocate all the time, please make sure you get your mammograms. Please make sure. It will save your life. Definitely save your life.
Now, what are your thoughts? I know you hear a lot of this conversation. What are your thoughts about?
Well, I really appreciate that you've taken your experience with self-advocacy, formalized it, and then shared that with others. Not only do you empower others to be advocates for the community, but as well themselves. So I guess what I want to ask is, what advice would you give to anyone who would be slightly hesitant to talk to their doctor about their breast health? And what advice would you give to doctors to help make patients more comfortable?
So let me start with the doctors. The doctors, when I went through my my fight, there were a couple of things that the doctors are still saying after all these years. Like, oh, you're going to get a new boob job. Well, I kind of liked my boobs before, and I didn't like the cancer. So I need doctors to stop saying that. Like, totally stop saying that. And then also, you know, I found out I had cancer at like 5:45 on a Friday when my office was packed and I got a phone call. And so it blindsided me. And so no one asked me, are you by yourself? Are you with someone? Are you okay? Are you in a place to talk? No one said that. And so I had to sort of kind of remove myself from the situation and go home because again, when you hear those words, I was just I couldn't hear anything around me. I was just, and so I need doctors to be a little bit more, because I guess there's no right way to say it, but a little bit more empathetic when it comes to making sure that that person has someone there, because it will blindside you, definitely. And so, Kyle, what was your first question in reference to the ladies? What can I?
Yeah, what would you say to someone who's hesitant to talk to their doctor about breast health?
Well, I guess I was as well. And then when I finally did, it saved my life. It actually saved my life. And I credit my doctor when I went in and said, oh, by the way, doctor, I have a little lump under my arm. Can you look at it? She did a self exam right there. She
Mm,
said, do not go home.
mm,
I called the oncology department. I want you to go upstairs. And she forced me to not leave the facility and made sure that I actually stayed there. And so you have to, as females, young, old, you have to make sure that you stay on top of your health. You have to make sure that if you feel any lumps, bumps, whatever, leakage, you have to, because there are people that are who love you. There are people who probably loving on you, and we need you around. And we need you around. Although it's scary, again, you got a pink sister here. Just give us a call. We go with you, or we'll tell you the exact questions to ask. But you have to make sure that you put yourself first. Put yourself first.
Mhm. I like that not only are you empowering women to be their advocate, their own advocate, because we are our best advocate. We know what we're feeling and we
Right.
know what we're experiencing, and so I'm glad that you're giving voice to this and that you're empowering women to do the same. So how can women? I mean,
Yes.
if they feel like they need support, and all that, can you share how to get in touch with you? Um, so if people who are
I
watching,
can. And so one thing that we pride ourselves on.
you're breaking up.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Sujin.
Here you go.
Let me finish.
I hear you
So
now.
one.
Okay, so we're having some
Okay.
challenges. Everybody watching.
We are, but one thing that I really want to get in, and thank you for asking that question, is that one thing that we pride ourselves on is that we're reachable and we're touchable. We're not this large organization that you give a call and you don't get a call back, or you DM us on Instagram or Facebook and we don't DM you back. And so we are just that. You could actually give Traci's Bio a call at the office at 267-897-1050, and I will answer. Or you can DM us at Tracis Bio at Gmail or Facebook. And we also have a website at Traci, let me spell it, TRACIS bio.org. And so if you go into the website, you can see either maybe you might want to donate, or you want to buy paraphernalia, or you want someone to contact you. And so again, we're very reachable and touchable in reference to having a conversation, the initial conversation in reference to your breast cancer or your questions that you might have.
Great. Thank you for sharing that resource. So for those of you who don't know, Tracis Bio is a nonprofit organization who help women survive, but not just survive, but thrive through through this experience that can be a horrific experience for many women. So Tracy, I thank you for all that you do. And I'm sure that the
No,
women,
you're welcome.
received your services have been blessed in abundance, because it is a scary place to be, and to do it alone is probably even more terrifying. So I'm glad that
Yes. Yeah.
you started this and that it was birthed out of a place of a need. So thank
Right.
you.
Right. Right.
you.
You're welcome. No, thank you guys for having me. I greatly appreciate it. And again, anyone who just needs to talk or just needs support, or a friend who is in a space where he or she, excuse me, she, and sometimes I was going to say he or she, but sometimes breast cancer does affect men. It does affect your husband. It does affect your brother. And so men should be on top of their exams as well when it comes to their breasts and detecting if they have any lumps or bumps. But yeah, so we definitely want to help the masses in reference to support.
Thank you. Kyle, you have any last words?
This was great. Thank you so much. I feel like there is an advocate out there for folks who need it. So thank you for making yourself available. And to those who are watching, get a mammogram. It's the month to do so.
Yeah. Yes. So everybody out there's watching, please make sure you schedule your mammogram if you haven't done so already. If you have, spread the word to your female friends, your parent, your kinfolk about your breasts are healthy. And so on that note, we're going to end episode of our Cheetah Chat with Traci Smith from Tracis Bio. Again, thank you for joining us and sharing of your story, but also of your services. Thank you.
And thank you for having me. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Until next time, everyone.
Bye.
See ya.